Okay, in this video we're going to talk about numeration. So basically we're going to start talking about numbers, where they came from, and different characteristics of numbers, and specifically our number system is what we're going to get into. So first of all, let's talk about the different ways you can represent a number. So we have some different definitions. One of them is a cardinal number. So a cardinal number represents a quantity, and that's how we use numbers most often, honestly. So it represents a quantity. So for example, if you were describing something, there's 20 students in a class. I have 3 dogs. I have 2 kids, something like that. So I'm going to put 20 students in a class as an example. Okay, and like the question it answers is how many, is a way to think about that. So cardinal number represents the quantity of something. An ordinal number, represents the position, or it tells the order. Okay, so it represents the position. It tells the order of something. So for example, first we wake up. Second, we put on our clothes, get dressed, so on and so forth. Or first place, second place, third place. So ordinal numbers tell the position of something or the order something's in. The last one, a nominal number, it's used as a name, okay, or to identify something, or identification. Sorry, I didn't think about how to spell that. So cardinal represents how many, ordinal represents the order, nominal is the name of something. So for example, a number on a jersey. Lots of times we'll say number 8 on that team or whatever. Another example is your zip code. If you live in Commerce, it's 75429, right? I might be wrong about that. Like Caddo Mills is 75135, Greenville is 75401 or 75402. Those don't actually like represent a quantity of people there or anything. It just tells a name of an area, and it's by a number. Okay. Another example would be like a model number on like a dishwasher, like 327 is the model number. I'm just making this up. It's not that there's 327 of something, or it's the 327th dishwasher. It's just a random number that represents that model. Okay, so some examples, or if I give you a few problems, can you give me the answers to these? So let's do a couple problems. So my house number is 1445. It's like my address. I live on 1445 Main Street, or whatever the address is. Okay, does that number tell how many of something? No, there's not 1,445 houses on that street. Does it represent the order? Is it the 1,445th house on that street? No, it's just a name. Lots of times there is a purpose for the number, but in this case it's just a name, so it's a nominal number. Okay. Another example, I have 5 buttons on my shirt. Okay, so 5 buttons. Does that represent how many of something you have? Yeah, I have 5 buttons, so that's a cardinal number. Okay, what about my social security number? I'm not going to tell you what it is, but my social security number. So does that social security number tell me that I'm But there's that many people, or I'm like a quantity. No. Am I that number, like that order of that number? No. It's just a nominal number. It's just an identification. Okay. Hopefully that helped a little bit going through those 3 types of numbers. Okay, so the next thing we're going to get into is different number systems. Okay, so this is a little bit of a history, and you're going to need your textbook for this. So your textbook is this textbook, and we're going to be on page 127, because we're going to be using these pictures because I don't want to have to draw them again. Okay, so a little bit of history. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to. That's just a scratch sheet of paper I was writing on. So the type of number system we use is a base 10 number system, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the next video. A base 10 number system. We haven't always used a base 10. Like all peoples forever haven't always used a base 10. We have gone through lots of different number systems, but one of the things we know is probably the reason why we use a base 10 number system is because I have 10 fingers, and it's really easy to count and think of things in terms of 10. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is some older systems, so you can kind of see how beneficial and how great our number system is. And we're going to start off with the Egyptian numeration system. So the Egyptian system, so this is the pictures in your textbook, if you look on page 127. The Egyptian system, for the number 1, they represented using a stick. So if they wanted to give the number 3, they would draw 3 sticks. For the number 10, they used a heel bone shape. And so if they wanted to do 30, they would do 3 of those heel bones, showing 3 10s. 100, they did this coiled rope shape. 1,000, they did this lotus flower. 10,000 was with this pointing finger. 100,000 was a tadpole. And 1,000,000 was an astonished man. Okay, so let's just work through a couple numbers real quick. If I gave you problem number 1, if I told you this little lotus flower thing, which my drawings are not perfect, 3 of the coiled ropes, so that's 1, 2, 3, 2 heel bones, and 3 sticks. What number does that represent? Okay, so first of all, that was a pain in the rear drawing all that stuff, right? So that number represents this lotus flower is worth 1,000, and I have 1 of them. So 1 times 1,000. Plus the coiled rope, I have 3 of them, and it is worth 100. So 3 times 100. The heel bones, I have 2 heel bones, and heel bones are worth 10. So 2 times 10. And then I have 3 sticks. Sticks are worth 1. So 3 times 1. So when I add all that up, I get 1,000 plus 300 plus 20 plus 3, which is 1,323. So that's how to represent the number 1,323. Okay, so we could do more examples of this, but you could see how much fun would it be to write the number 1,792,987. Okay, I would have to do 1 of the astonished man. I'd have to do 7 tadpoles, 9 pointing fingers, 2 lotus flowers, 9 coiled ropes, 8 heel bones, 7 sticks. That's pain to draw all that out. So this number system, it's not efficient. It works, it's just not very efficient because of having to draw all that, but also having, like if I want to represent the number 9, I have to do 9 things to show that. So that's one downside to the Egyptian number system. The next number system we're going to talk about, there are multiple number systems, we're only going to talk about a couple today, or in this video, is the Roman numeration system, so the Roman numeral system. This one's a little better, but it's still a little bit of a pain and it's a little bit confusing. So if on page 127 again, it gives you right here the symbols for the Roman numerals. So just an I is a 1, a V is 5, an X is 10, 50 is L, 100 is C, 500 is D, and 1,000 is M. And one thing that you have to know about the Roman numeral system, first of all, there's nothing to represent 0. And then also, if a smaller number is in front of a bigger number, you subtract. So if smaller is in front of bigger, you have to subtract. Okay, so for example, if I put a 1 and then a 5, a 1 is smaller than a 5, so I do 5 minus 1 is 4. Okay. So I'm just going to put the numbers 1 through 10. So the number 1 would just be an I. The number 2 would be 2 I's. The number 3 would be 3 I's. The number 4, you sometimes see it with 4 I's, but most time you see it like this because it's faster to write it that way, is 1 before 5. The number 5 is a V. The number 6 is a V plus 1, so 5 plus 1. The number 7 is 5 plus 2. The number 8 is 5 plus 3. The number 9, you could do 5 plus 4, but it's faster to put 1 minus 10. Okay, so X is a 10, so 1 from 10, and then 10 is just an X. Okay, so hopefully you've seen this before, you're a little bit familiar with it. It gets a little bit harder once you get up into bigger things. So for example, let's count this as number 2, I guess. MXI. What's that number? Okay, so the M comes first. M is 1,000. So M represents 1,000. X represents 10. And I represents 1. There's no smaller numbers in front of bigger numbers, so I don't have to subtract anything. So this is just the number 1,011. Okay, one more. If I had the number MDXCII. So again, M represents 1,000. D represents 500. X represents 10, but C represents 100, and so that's 10 before 100, so that means I have to do 100 minus 10 there. Okay, so 100 minus 10, and then II is 2. So 1,000 plus 500 plus 90 plus 2 would be 1,592. Okay, so you have a few of those problems on your homework to practice the Roman numeration system. So we are going to stop this video here, and our next video is going to be our base 10 system.